Are you suffering from a bulging disc and you're still looking for ways to strengthen your core? If you are, then this video is perfect for you because I'm going to show you exactly which exercises you should avoid. Hi everybody, my name is Will Harlow and I'm the Over-Fifties Specialist Physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And today I'm going to be showing you the 4 worst core exercises for people with bulging discs so you can safely avoid them. Now, before we dive into the content of the video, if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because then you'll be the first to hear about our new sciatica and bulging disc videos as soon as they come out. Now that that's been said, let's talk about bulging discs and sciatica and core exercises and why people can get into a serious muddle with these things. Now, the thing about sciatica is that if you go online and you read about the rehabilitation process, a lot of the things you'll read will have people telling you that the way to get better is to strengthen your core muscles, and your core muscles are your tummy muscles. And I have my own thoughts on this topic. I personally don't believe that core strengthening is the only way to get sciatica better, but core exercises are an important part of any rehab program when we're talking about a back injury. However, the problem with core exercises is that a lot of the movements involved in strengthening the core also aggravate bulging discs. And the reason for this is that lots of core exercises, the ones that activate the abdominals, involve a movement that we call flexion. Now, flexion is the act of bending forward. Okay, so when you're sitting, you're in a flex position. When you're standing and you bend forward, that's a flex position. And when you're lying on your back and you try and bring your shoulders up or you try and bring your legs up towards you, again, that is a flexion position. And the problem is that a lot of the core exercises that people say are the best are ones that involve lots of flexion or ones that stretch the sciatic nerve, and both of those things can make bulging discs worse. Now, the reason that flexion makes a bulging disc worse is because when we flex forward with the spine, we put a lot of pressure on the front of the disc. And what that does is it pushes any existing disc bulge out to the back where it pinches a nerve. Okay, so that's typically what happens when someone flexes. The disc bulge gets worse, it pushes on the nerve, and it makes their symptoms worse as a result. So anyone who's doing lots of flexion-based exercises to strengthen their core is inadvertently making their symptoms worse and delaying their recovery. So they're far outweighing any good they're doing with the core exercises with the bad they're doing by irritating the nerve. Thankfully, I'm going to show you 4 exercises today to avoid when you've got sciatica and disc bulges, which should help you get better quicker because you'll be avoiding all the wrong things. So let's have a look at the 4 worst core exercises when you've got bulging discs. And these are exercises I see all the time online. I see people saying, oh, just do these and you'll be all right. But for most people, these are the worst things you can do. So I'm going to show you what the 4 to avoid are, so then you can stay safe and choose different exercises when you build your core program. Now, the first one and the most common one that I see for core that is terrible for people with bulging discs is the sit-up. So the sit-up looks something like this. This is a crunch, so this is a half sit-up. The full sit-up is like this. And basically what most people do is they try and do lots and lots of these until they get their abdominals burning, basically, until they feel their abdominals working. Now, the problem with this is twofold. The first problem is that this exercise actually works the wrong type of core muscle to help the spine. It works your 6-pack muscles, okay, called the rectus abdominis, but the rectus abdominis really isn't that functional. It looks good at the beach, but it doesn't really support the spine. The rest of the core is the bit that wraps around the middle, and that is the bit we care more about. So the first problem with the sit-ups and the crunches is they don't really work the right bit. The second problem with the sit-ups and crunches is they involve flexion. And flexion is the movement that aggravates bulging discs and often makes sciatica worse. So avoid that exercise if you can. Now, the second exercise to avoid, and one that I see people doing all the time for their core, is the straight leg raise. Now, the straight leg raise either looks like this with one leg coming up, and some people will do it like this. You might hear these called leg raises, and basically what they are is a core exercise to strengthen not just the rectus abdominis, but the other muscles around the core as well. So it's quite an effective exercise. Now, the problem with this exercise is when you raise your leg straight up, that is what we call a straight leg raise. And it's actually a test that I use in the clinic to try and aggravate someone's sciatica to see if it's a bulging disc or a disc problem, or indeed any other cause of sciatica causing their pain. So basically what you're doing over and over again by doing this is aggravating the sciatic nerve by putting it on a stretch and making your symptoms worse. So this makes it a very bad exercise for people with bulging discs and sciatica, so avoid the straight leg raise as well. Now, another exercise to avoid, and this one's pretty self-explanatory now we've explained the first two, is the combined V-sit. And the V-sit is basically a combination of the first two exercises. And it looks something like this. You start with your arms out and your legs, and then you go up with both. Now, I don't need to do this many times for you to see that this combines the worst of both worlds when it comes to sciatica. So we're getting flexion of the spine and a straight leg raise. So a really bad combo for people with bulging discs. So definitely avoid this exercise if you have a bulging disc. And then the fourth exercise to avoid for your core, which I see people with bulging discs do, is what we call the bicycle crunch. And that's when you have your hands behind your head like this, and you're bringing your opposite knee to your opposite elbow and alternating here. So it's a good exercise for strengthening the core, but again, it involves a lot of flexion. And what people tend to do at the top of the movement is they kind of jerk towards it, which again is not great for your bulging disc and will aggravate it. So be careful with that exercise too. Now, as a bonus exercise to avoid, the other thing I would say is make sure you're not doing hanging leg raises. I don't have a bar here to show you, but a hanging leg raise is when you hang on a bar and you bring your legs up. It's just another variation of the leg raise when you're lying on your back, and it puts just as much stress on the sciatic nerve. So make sure to avoid that as well. Now, if you can avoid those 5 exercises, you're going to be a lot happier with your bulging disc, and you're not going to aggravate it while trying to strengthen your core. So those are the 4 core exercises to avoid when you've got bulging discs. If you avoid these exercises, I promise you'll get better quicker because you'll not be aggravating the problem quite so much, and then the issue will have a chance to settle and the disc should start healing. Anyway, I hope that video has been useful to you. As with all of my videos, the advice here is not specific. It will be different for everyone, but for most people, these are definitely exercises that should be avoided. So if you found this useful, please leave me a comment in the section below because I love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, if you want more from me, you can always pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50, and you can find it on Amazon using the link below this video. And other than that, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next one.